Happy Monday, everybody. Thanks so much for being here for Chef Sherri Live. I am so excited to be bringing you this recipe today. This is the first seafood recipe we've presented. Part of it is because it's not always in my wheelhouse. I happen to be allergic to seafood, but I have learned to cook it because of people that I care about really do enjoy it. And so today we're going to do a delicious salmon dish. But instead of using pasta, we are going to take zucchini and turn it into noodles using something called a spiralizer. I want to take this opportunity too to let you know that Kate is not here for this show, but I have the wonderful David with me from MARKET.live. He's in the background. You're going to hear his voice. We're going to chat it up, talk about all things that are going on in the kitchen. He's going to help field the questions that might be coming in through the comments as well. So David, you want to take a second and say hi? Oh, sorry. Well, he's going to be joining us in just 1 second. So I'm going to walk you through what we've got going on today.
There we go.
I'm
Hello,
curious.
hello.
There's David.
Hey,
Hi, how are
Sherry,
you
how are
doing?
you?
I'm great, thanks.
Very good.
David, just curious, are you familiar with the spiralizer?
I mean, I've seen it before, and I see it right there, but I have never used it, so I'm excited to see what you can do with it.
Yeah, so we've actually got two spiralizers that I sourced for the store. If you watched our show, you know that I take the time to go behind the scenes and source products that are either exactly that I'm using in the show or very, very similar, high enough quality that I would feel comfortable recommending them or using them and put them up there so that you guys can just easily buy them. You don't have to go out and hunt for them. You don't have to do the research. You don't have to read reviews. I've got it all taken care of for you. And the two spiralizers that we have for this show, one is this one. It is attached to my KitchenAid mixer, which we haven't really talked about in many shows. These guys are workhorses. If you don't have a KitchenAid mixer and you like to do any kind of baking, totally, totally worth the investment. This one is about, I'd say 12 or 13 years old now. I have the spiralizer attachment for it. There is an attachment where you can make pasta with it. There's an attachment that you can grind meat. There's one of my favorite attachments is something that they created, which allows me to dice. So I don't have to worry about getting it into that perfect 1/4 inch by 1/4 inch size cubes. I can just literally stick a green pepper in it and push it down and it just dices the entire thing for me. We'll probably
Wow,
do that on another show. Yeah,
that's
it's
pretty cool.
amazing.
I mean,
So
that sounds great.
it's such a time saver. And, again, that's what the show is all about. It's about teaching you how to cook easier, how to do it more confidently, and how to save time in the kitchen. And investing in tools like these is what really helps you do that. So that's the spiralizer that I'm going to be using. And then there's another spiralizer that we source, which is the hand crank spiralizer, which is one that a lot of people do have in the kitchen. It works well too. The one that I sourced is a high quality one. If you go cheap, they're going to break. They're not going to cut easily. It's just a hassle to use. But I'm excited to show you how to use this. So we've got the spiralizer going today. We're going to be pulling out our friend the microplane to do some very minute zesting. David, familiar with the microplane at all?
Again, I've seen it before. I may have used it wrong in the kitchen, like for like Parmesan cheese or something that just
No,
doesn't
that's
make
fine.
sense. Ah, so
No,
there,
that's
I
perfect.
definitely
Yeah,
have seen it before. I've held one.
perfect. Yeah, I use it on cheese sometimes. Shredding chocolate is another great one.
Ooh,
Fresh
nice.
spices like nutmeg. I'll use that too. But today we're actually going to use it on the lemon, and we're going to talk about the right way to do it and the wrong way to do it.
Excellent.
Uh, yeah, I've got a new knife to show everybody today, which I love just putting you on the spot. Thank you so much for being there for me, David.
I'm here.
So these two knives,
Okay.
they look exactly the same, right?
Oh, well, yeah, they look exactly the same. I'll say that.
Exactly. Like I can put the one right behind the other and they look exactly the same,
Yep.
but they're actually different.
Get out of
One is
here.
a utility knife and one is a new knife for us. It's called a fillet knife. And
Ah,
the fillet knife is important when you're cutting through seafood or if you want to cut some of the myelin sheath off of other cuts of meat like briskets and things like that. And here's the difference. So if I'm loosen this out of the way first. If I press down the tip of my utility knife, can you see it? See how it bends?
yeah, I see that.
Now look at the fillet.
Oh,
See?
get out of here. Oh, so you can put your hand on the top of the meat and that thing will just bend with whatever the shape that you're
Exactly.
putting
So
on there.
Exactly. So it bends with pressure, which is what we want with a fillet knife. Utility knife is supposed to be strong and sturdy. So they do look the same, but they're very different.
I'm so impressed. I'm ready. I'm totally ready, chef. Yes, chef. Your sous chef, your assistant chef is ready. I'm ready to get to be
Let's do
taught.
it. Awesome. Garlic press, which we've talked about before. We're going to be pressing out some garlic. We're going to let it brown in the pan. It's going to be so amazing. Our tongs, which we've got our roasting pan as well. We're going to throw that into the oven. And then, of course, our pots and pans. I do have two new tools today, though. Two other new tools that I want to show you. One is a fish turner or a fish spatula. So the big deal about finding a good one of these, we have it sourced for you in the stainless steel version because I couldn't find one that was nylon covered or silicone covered that I was comfortable with. All the ones that I found that we could show you were just too flimsy. And when you're dealing with larger cuts of fish, you want to make sure that it's sturdy. So you can see I'm putting good pressure on this and it's barely bending. You don't want to try to lift something up and have it kind of collapse under you. So this is our fish turner, but the great thing is it's not just for fish, it's for anything large. Like I use this when I'm making pancakes. It's the perfect size. It gets under there, lifts it up, can handle the heft of a pancake, flip it over with no issues. You can use it with omelets, chicken, lots and lots of things. So even though it's called a fish turner, many uses. The other one is a flat whisk. And you know what? I'm going to grab my balloon whisk so we can look at the difference. So here's the typical balloon whisk. And this is what you're used to seeing when you're baking with things. Yep. This is all about adding air, which is what you want. You're trying to leaven things like when you're doing egg whites or cake batter or anything like that, you're trying to incorporate air. Whereas when you are making a sauce, you don't necessarily want to have extra air in there. You just want to be able to combine your ingredients really well. And that's what this flat, it's called a flat whisk is all about. And you can see it's got the silicone on it again. I'm a big proponent of silicone tools. Usually there are a few exceptions, but because this way you don't have to worry about what pan or pot you're using. It's, if it's a cast iron, if it is stainless steel on the inside, if it's tin on the inside, whatever it might be, you know that you're not going to scratch it up with these guys. There, like I said, there are a couple of exceptions, like when you're doing egg whites, you don't want to have silicone on it, but that's for another discussion. So these are our tools for today. Super excited to get started with this. Awesome. Get ready to have your mind blown.
I'm already there. Trust me, guys. If your mind is not blown, I don't know where you've been. You must be sleeping under a rock. I'm totally ready now. That last spatula that you held, the one with the whisk, the flat one, is that so it gets frothy? It's so that it's able to blend, but without aerating it too much. So yes, you can do like some very short little rotations with your hand without worrying about it getting too voluminous on you. It's more of a high quality blender, for lack of a better word for it. Nice, perfect. Yeah, sounds good to me. Okay, so spiralizing. So when you start spiralize, here's the other thing. But this fillet knife, even though it's flexible, it's still suitable to cut through vegetables. So I'm just going to use this fillet knife, and you're going to trim off the tops and the bottoms. And you always want to check. I'm going to move this fillet out of the way for a moment. You always want to check the size of your vegetable because you want to make sure that it can fit comfortably into the spiralizer blade. So as you can see, this, if I come to here, it's going to be too long. So this is the spiralizer blade we're going to use, and this actually comes with several options. This particular KitchenAid spiralizer does. You can make things into noodles. You can use it just to peel things. You can use it to only core something, like you could send an apple through it and have it core all your apples for you. I use it to make spiralized potatoes sometimes, which are a lot of fun at parties and stuff like that. So you just simply put the blade in. It's literally that easy. But again, as you can see, the zucchini is too long, so I'm just going to cut it in half. And you take the little prong, stick it into the middle, reattach. See how easy this is? Looks super easy.
It is. All right, and then you simply slide this up and align it, and we're going to turn it on. So you just put your bowl underneath. One thing I like to do as well is I like to grab my kitchen shears And as the noodles are coming off, once I think it's an appropriate length, I just cut so that I don't have this 15-foot long string of zucchini that by the time we're done with all of this. So here we go. Just turn it on. And there it goes.
We got some jazzy turning on music in the background for you folks. It looks like
There you go.
this is a steal too, by the way. You're getting a little bit of a discount if you add that to your cart for $89.99. It's looking good and it works really well.
It's super easy. Then when it gets near the end, I like to give it a little bit of pressure to help it get to just the very, very end. Get as much out of the zucchini as I can. Turn it off. Pull back. Move it forward. Remove this for your leftover zucchini. And at this point is when I have my dogs come in because they love zucchini.
Puppies.
Emma,
This
you
is
want
one
cat?
of the best parts of the show right here. You get
You
some
want cat?
puppy love.
You want some zucchini? There you go. Here you go, Charlie. Here's some zucchini for you. Yeah. So they'll probably stick around now that they know that there's good food happening in the kitchen. Oh, where did I put my little stick? There it is. So here we go. We're going to finish off these 2 zucchinis. Meanwhile, in the background for this recipe, I have the water boiling because eventually we're going to be putting the zoodles. We have now made zoodles. We're going to be putting that into the boiling water. The great thing too is it only takes like 2 minutes to boil. So there we go.
Does that have anything to do with the fact that it's mostly water and it's kind of buoyant and, you know, is there some science behind that?
It's because it doesn't really have anything that needs to break down. You know, when we're dealing with pasta, we've still got some of the fibers and so forth from the grains. The zucchinis themselves, they are so, as you were saying, they're so water soluble that there's very little that needs to be done to them. Even raw, they're soft. Whereas with a pasta noodle, it's hard when it starts. Yeah, I know. Okay, you ready for more? There's that one.
Let's give it up for the
There you
puppies
go.
in the background. Those cute pups.
Yeah, so that's Charlie and Emma. Charlie is, he is he's 5.5 now. And his mom, Emma, is, she'll be 8 next month. They are great. They absolutely love the weather here in Colorado.
Now, did you say
being labs.
Charlie and Emma or Charlie and Ella?
Yep, Emma.
Ah,
Yep,
so
with
we
2
have,
M's.
we have Ella in the chat. Ella says that she's so excited for this recipe. Hey, thanks for joining, Ella. We appreciate it.
Thanks, Ella. It's great to have you here. I'm excited to get this done. I've already recruited. Here we go. And you can see it just kind of takes over itself.
I mean, if there's a machine that I want in the house to take over itself, it's that thing. It seems like it's very quiet as well.
It is. It makes no noise other than the standard KitchenAid mixer. No additional anything. All right, guys. All right, last one, and then we're going to set this aside and move on to our salmon. And even though, you know, we're going to take our time with this recipe here, what I want everybody to know is that if you were to do this at home using the equipment that I have, you'll see you can have this, what's going to be an amazing dish, finished in about 20 minutes.
Yep.
Because you can see how fast we're getting through making these noodles. Let's set these off to the side now.
Couch Surfer joined. He said he's here for the zoodles. So let's go. I'm excited.
That's what we got them. All right, last ones, guys.
For anyone that's just joining, we have the pups also joining here on set. They are getting some zucchini love. Apparently
They are all doodled up. Yeah, anytime they hear me open the freezer, they know that frozen vegetables are coming out and they come running.
Yep.
Anytime I'm cutting up. Oh, and again, heaven help me if I pull out the peeler. Then they think carrots are out and they're right by my side because if they want some of my carrots, they're funny. They keep me on their toes. All right, zoodles are going to the side. The next thing I'm going to prep ahead of time before we get to the salmon, because we're going to need this right at the start, is, let me get this on too.
Couch Surfer said that's a very nifty KitchenAid attachment. Yeah, it's definitely one of the best ones. You want to break it down one more time?
Yeah, so let me just show you. I'm going to unscrew this part. Usually you've got the KitchenAid logo right there. And this is the beauty of their attachments, right? So you just take off the logo and you slide this in and you tighten the knot back on and you're ready to go. Super simple. And like I said, it's got 4 or 5 different attachments that all just slide in easily from the top. This one has I went for the smaller holes for the zucchini here. They have one that makes larger holes as well. So if you want something more along the lines of the size of a fettuccine versus a spaghetti, it can core everything for you. It has the ability to simply slice, like if you just want to have potatoes peeled, or let's say you want to make your own pasta from vegetables, you can put like, a rutabaga or a sweet potato or something in here and have it peel it for you and for a very thin strip, and then you just slice it up. So many options. I love this tool. Very handy, and it's great, especially if you've got like kids or if you always want to keep healthy snacks on hand. You can get them cut, ready to go. Make baked apples easily. Just send it through the spiralizer and then throw them in the oven, and you've got your own baked apples. Lots of uses. We're gonna get this lemon ready to go. Everything's already been washed, by the way. I'm going to show you a trick with when we squeeze lemon. So lemons obviously have seeds. They're female. Limes don't have seeds because they are male. But we're going to take this. And how many times have you actually squeezed a lemon into something and oh no, you see that, your lemon seed falling into the middle of whatever you're trying to do, right?
It goes wherever it wants.
Exactly, yeah. So what a way to escape that is just get some cheesecloth. And I bought a pack of cheesecloth. It comes massively. I've had it for probably 7 years and I still have more left. So just buy a pack and throw it away. But I mean, throw it like to the side, not away, but away in your cabinet. Put it in cheesecloth like this, seal it up with a rubber band. And then when you need to squeeze it, it's going to catch your seeds for you.
Get out of here. See, I have my notebook.
There you go.
I hope you guys are taking notes. I have my notes with me. I'm already leaving with 2 jewels of nuggets of information here. So that's excellent. Good one. That's a good one.
Yeah. Okay, salmon. Who's ready for the salmon?
Me is. Now you're gonna grab your fillet knife for this one, correct?
Correct. Yep. So that's the only knife. That's really the only knife I'm going to be using today. When you are working with fish, one of the first things you want to do, they should do it ahead of time, but you want to make sure that it's been descaled. Are you familiar with descaling at all, David?
Now that is something I've seen it and grew up with it, but I'll let you break it down for the audience.
Well, tell me what you know about it.
Well, I've seen that you want to scour it, right? So you want the heat to distribute through it when you're cooking it. Is that basically what the descaling process is?
It's so that you don't have the loose scales ending up in your food. Now, that being said, it's not, you can eat them. Some people just don't like the taste and the texture, but this just helps get off all of the loose scales.
Got it.
And the easiest way to do it is just to use the back of your fillet knife. So you just come through here, you kind of go against the grain. And yeah, like I can see some little scales flicking up on me. So even though they did it when it was bought and, wrapped and whatever, they missed some. So just getting a few of these off. All right, do the same thing with this other fillet. And you want to go against the direction of the scales. This one actually is feeling pretty good.
Carrie said that was such a brilliant idea with the lemon. I agree, Carrie. Totally.
Thanks, Carrie. Yeah, and again, a pack of cheesecloth is $. It's so inexpensive.
It's so useful and for my wallet and my kitchen.
Yeah. All right. So the other reason I want to make sure to do a really good job descaling these guys is because I am going to actually not change pans. I'm going to do what's called a deglazing. Who in the chat right there is familiar with deglazing? What can you tell me about deglazing? I'll give you guys a few seconds to type in your answer, and then David, let me know if anybody knows what deglazing is all about and why we do it.
Definitely. I think it might have something to do with wine. I'm just going to throw that out there. Wine or sugar?
Anybody have a guess?
No one yet. See some
No one
typing
yet.
going on.
Okay. Oh, okay. I will wait for the typing to finish. All right. So deglazing is all about taking the beautiful flavors that have come out during cooking, and instead of them being wasted, you then incorporate it into a sauce. So instead of letting this salmon cook a little bit in the skillet and then taking that same skillet and putting it in the pan, what I'm going to do instead is I am going to take the salmon off of the pan and put it into a roasting pan so that I can continue making the sauce in that same pan. So I'm pulling up all of the flavors that were released while it started its cooking process.
And Maria did chime in. She said, "Is it adding liquid, wine, and etc.?"
You got it. Yep. So you can use wine, you can use broth, you can use anything you want that has some flavor to it. I mean, yes, you can use water, but that's kind of a waste because then you're just diluting the flavors. But that is exactly what you do. So I am going to make sure our pan is heating up well, get some butter melting in it, and then, oh yeah, I can feel it heating up nice and well. Check my temperature with my little handy surface temperature monitor here. All right, I'm at about 335. That'll be good for me. Okay, so we are going to bring the salmon over here. I'm gonna get some butter going.
One of our favorite chatters, Nisi, says, "Sherri, you have a beautiful kitchen." I think we can all agree on that.
I super appreciate that because it was not like this when I moved in. And that was one of my priorities, was getting a kitchen that I would love to cook in. It was a matter of, several months getting things done, and I'm very happy with how it came out. So I appreciate that.
And Kylie, we are cooking salmon with creamy noodles. We took some zucchini and we put it in the spiralizer, and the KitchenAid attachment made it into noodles that we're going to be cooking with this beautiful pieces of salmon here.
We sure are. And so for this recipe, we are just going to put the salmon into the skillet skin side down. I'm going to sprinkle it with some salt and pepper, and it's only going to stay on here for about 2 or 3 minutes. Because after that, I'm going to throw it into the oven. And all fish, you want to be careful with how high temperature you cook it, because that's what will release the albumin. So as you see, you've probably all seen, here we go with our lemons. You've seen like the stuff that eats out of fish as it cooks. That's albumin, which is a natural, normal thing. We have it as well. As it comes from the liver, I believe. But after it comes out, it's something that can also indicate if a fish was overcooked, meaning that we have done it at too high of a temperature, we've left it too long, whatever it might be. So again, I'm only letting these guys sit for just a minute or two. And I actually am going to bring this salmon back because I forgot to do one thing to it. And what I forgot to do was I had noticed that there was a bit of some fish scales or fish fins that was left on it, and I want to get that off. So this is searing up beautifully.
Now, how can you tell that you left something on there?
I can still see it, so I am actually going to just rinse this cutting board off, transfer it onto here, and meanwhile, I'm going to cut it off quickly because I don't want to delay it getting into the oven. I'm going to pull them both off so one doesn't cook more than the other. Put this guy right here onto our roasting pan. But we come back here, you can see on the side, I can see it and feel it, that it's part of the top of the fin of the fish. So that's got to go away. And I'm just going to trim this off as well because this looks a little dried out to me when we first started with it. So that's it, done. I'll carefully carry this guy back. And now I'm going to throw him into the oven and let it cook for about 8 to 10 minutes. All right, anybody watching know what the correct temperature
should be for fish when you cook a fish.
Now, this is the finished temperature, right? The cooking
Yes,
temperature.
correct.
So let's see
So,
what they say in the chat.
yep.
Emma says, I'm
Meanwhile,
learning so much from you today. Thank you, Chef
oh, I love,
Sherri.
absolutely. It's my pleasure. I'm glad. All right, garlic, here we go. All right, for fish, it is recommended USDA, safe temperature says
We have an answer.
145.
Let's see what
All right.
see what you say. Greg says 165.
I appreciate you guessing, but no. So the USDA says 145 for safety, but anybody who likes fish will tell you that that will be very overdone, and that they recommend pulling out around 120 to 125, because that's when your fish will be light and flaky. And that is one of the tests you can use, is to see how easily your fish flakes up.
Also,
All right.
another nugget we're walking off with today. We're all going to be ready for lunch and dinner, no matter where you at.
Is that my new
country.
nickname now?
What
I'm
little
Nugget
nuggets?
Sherri.
Nugget Sherri. Well,
I'm
if you make good,
little nugget.
There's some. I think there's some synergy there. You have good sauces. You give good nuggets. So all you have to do is make a good chicken nugget recipe, and boom! I think we have a new segment that we could cut to anytime.
Sherri's Nuggets.
Sherri's Nuggets. We have
all right, I'm gonna
buttermilk fried. We have braised. we have some grilled nuggets too, if we want to for the conscious people out there.
So what I'm going to do now, I'm sorry, I'm like walking all over my pups here. Next step, I'm just going to transfer everything pretty much over to the other side, because we are at the process where it gets going. It's going to get going a little bit fast. I've got white wine. I've got heavy cream. I have salt and pepper. I have capers. You guys know what capers are?
Let's see what we know. If we have some people who know what capers are, go ahead and log your answer in the chat for us. I know they taste great with seafood. That's what I know.
Yeah, they do.
For sure.
They do. They are often referred to as salty peas. And that's a great, accurate description, because they look like peas and they are just very salty, but they add that perfect blend of the salt that is needed in a dish like this to bring it to life. And we're going to have the vibrancy of the wine for working with this particular dish with salmon. I like using a Pinot Grigio. If not a Pinot Grigio, then Sauvignon Blanc, but you want something that's light and kind of fruity and floral for this. Okay, so here's where we're going to go deglaze, guys. I'm going to pour the wine into it, and you're going to see that it's going to bubble up, which means when you do this yourself, I want you to be very careful. Don't stand over it, because the steam's going to hit you.
Our buddy Offside said, ooh, wine. And I totally agree. That might be the second best part of the segment, behind our guest puppies that joined when they had their little zucchini snacks.
And they're now happily laying at my feet, wondering if more is going to come. All right, here we go.
They know their mama. There's going to be more.
They do. They do indeed. All right. We've got this cooking. That is all happily deglazed now. Next up, I'm going to add in the heavy cream. And while I add this heavy cream is when I'm going to start whisking. And I want to blend this in slowly, because the temperatures are so different. I've got the hot broth or the hot wine and garlic underneath me. And if I were to just pour this cold straight into it, it would break, meaning it wouldn't incorporate well. So just slowly come in and see how the flat whisk works. It allows me to get everything blended and mixed together super well, but without aerating it. And you'll also notice that I'm not adding salt and pepper yet, because we want to wait until we're near the very end of the dish. That way you can make sure that it's not going to change on us as the sauce reduces down.
And now that flat whisk is added to the screen now. Do you want to explain what that flat whisk is for the audience one more time?
Sure. So the flat whisk is different from the balloon whisk. A balloon whisk is what's typically used for baking when you're doing things like cake mixes or you are trying to aerate egg whites. It is formulated to add that air to make things fluffy. Whereas a flat whisk is all about taking all of the ingredients together and incorporating them, but without aerating. So this particular one, and the one that we sourced for you as well, has 4 or 5 different tongs on it. They compress down so that I'm flattening any ingredients to help make it a smoother sauce as well. At the same time, it's allowing everything to blend together.
Nice. Offside says, "Oh, I never knew that." Same here. We're thinking of a new segment for Chef Sherri because she's
Chef Sherri's nuggets.
Yeah, Chef Sherri's nuggets are definitely a thing, and she's pulling out all the stops.
All right. I'm actually going to check the temperature on the filet. I'm not expecting it to be done yet, but better to have it out early and I can put it back in and have it overcooked.
Now, Liz Ann was responding to the question about the capers. She says,
Yeah.
"Are they part of a flower bud in the sea?"
You know, I am not entirely sure about that. I seem to want to say yes. Yep, these guys are done. That one's done. So my little guy is done. My big one is not. So I'm going to pull it out to, where's my little cutting board? I don't want this one. I want my wooden cutting board. That's another thing to talk about as well at this moment is pay attention to the thickness of your cuts, because if one is different than the other, they will cook at different times. So my small one was done. My big one needs another minute or two. Here. Okay. And I am going to scrape off a bit of the albumin. And you could see, like, I put it in at 350 for about, what was that, 4 minutes?
Yeah,
5
it wasn't
minutes?
that long.
No. These were fairly thin cuts. It's all I could find this time of year. But if you have thicker cuts, you'll probably go for about 8 to 10 minutes. And it's always handy to have the temperature so that you can go ahead and just grab it in there and stick it in and get a quick reading to make sure that it's going to be perfect. And again, you can eat the albumin. I just don't like how it looks. Bring that guy off to the side, and we're going to let the salmon cool a little bit because we're going to have to take the skin off.
Offsides added a little nugget for us on the chat. He says capers are unbloomed florets like broccoli, but they're singular, not in a cluster.
I love it. Thank you so much. I love to learn.
Yeah, okay. Everyone loves nuggets. Everyone loves. That's why it's going to be such.
Everyone does.
That's why it's going to be such a hit.
Okay, so we've got our sauce cooking there. We're going to add our capers in. Mix that well. I'm
Dr.
actually going to
J,
take a
we love
little.
some salmon nugs too. That's a good little thing you can put in the air fryer.
And that's coming along very nicely. Definitely is going to need some salt though. Got the capers in there. And what you haven't seen so far is on this pan back here, I have some boiling water, and that's going to be used for our zoodles. Yeah. Almost, not quite there. Spinach. So this is how much spinach that I am using in the ingredients itself. It's about 5 ounces, and I know it looks like a huge amount, but if you're familiar with spinach, it wilts down to it looks like nothing. Like I won't even be able to fill this small bowl once it's done wilting. But I don't want to add it too soon because I do want it to have a little bit of texture to it. So I'm going to wait until I pull out the salmon, and then that is off and resting to the side. I'm going to taste this one more time, see if the capers are incorporating well. It is good. I'm also going to take off this cheesecloth from this lemon because I'm going to use it for the other half. What's your favorite salmon dish, David?
Ooh, I'm a very, when meal prepping became the craze,
Yeah.
uh, it fit really well with what I like about food. You have your protein, you have your starch, you have your vegetables. So if you give me any fish dish with some creamy potatoes and some nice roasted or grilled vegetables on the side, I am in heaven. I could eat that every
Okay.
day.
So, what do you use for your flavoring? Do you make sauces? Do you just not add sauces?
I love a good Asian sauce. Maybe some
Okay.
some honey soy sauce mixture. Uh, I love that. That's always a good go-to for me.
Gotcha. All right. This guy is done as well now. So I am going to put him over here, let him cool off. And you can see, even though this one was in there longer at the same temperature, very little albumin because it was a thicker piece and so it cooked slower. Meanwhile, I'm just letting that sauce reduce. Just let it kind of hang out there and meld together. You can see, like as I'm scraping all this albumin, how beautifully the salmon is flaking. It comes up so easily. I'm going to be giving this dish to my neighbor, and I know he's going to be quite thankful.
Well, you have Dr. J, Offsides, Nisi, Couch Surfer, Kylie, myself. We are all fans right now. So we're pretty jealous that your neighbor gets a very first up and personal experience. And maybe
Yeah,
one
well,
maybe
come on
maybe
over.
one day we will all get to have it together. Keep that in mind.
Come on over. I've often said that, I wish that you guys were nearby because I would love to have everybody over to do this with me. Okay, canceling my oven. My water is boiling. So since I'm about to drop the noodles into it, first thing I'm going to do is add my spinach so it can start to wilt. I'm also going to squeeze the other half of that lemon into the sauce.
And
A
I
new
love spinach
lemon.
too. My wife knows I love spinach. That she gets the bags and they're just for me most of the time.
Yeah,
So yeah, I love a good spinach. Well, a lot of spinach makes a little bit of spinach. So I love it.
I throw it in so many things because you really can't even taste it. I put it in my protein shakes all the time.
I
Blends up to
saw that. I
nothing. I
watched.
throw,
There's a guy that I watched on Instagram. He's become one of my favorite content creators. He gives you all these
uh-huh,
kitchen hacks.
yep,
One of the coolest things that I saw, he took this. He says if you have spinach that's getting close to turning, take it out, put it on a bed sheet. No, not bed sheet. I'm sorry, an oven pan, and put it in the oven and cook it at low 125 and for an hour or so until it gets dry. Then take
uh-huh.
the dry spinach and grind it up
Process it.
and
Yep.
process it. Now you have this really nutrient dense powder that doesn't really carry a taste that you could add to anything.
Yes.
So I was like, wow,
Isn't that
that's
great?
that's a really cool hack.
Yeah. You still need to use it within a relative amount of time, but it's definitely a way to help keep it from going bad and wasting it.
Yep.
Okay, so in fact, I'm going to pull this out because last week, if there's anybody on the show last week, we chatted about how to save your herbs and produce and things from spoiling too quickly. And I pulled out some of the containers that I use and I raved on them. They're from Rubbermaid. And I just want to show you. This is 1 week later. Look how fresh my green pepper still is. Look how fresh my cilantro still is. Like these little containers are fabulous. But this is what I do with my spinach because I'll buy 10 ounces of spinach at a time and throw them in there, and I can get usually about 3 weeks of life out of my spinach that way.
Offside says I use spinach instead of lettuce, and I always used to try the spinach in a quiche. So he's gonna try
Uh-huh.
the dried spinach trick. So that sounds good. Yeah,
Yeah,
I think you could probably do both. Really, maybe one for flavor, maybe one for presentation.
yeah, I do. I love putting spinach in quiches and omelets. It's obviously beautifully nutrient dense, but it just looks so pretty too. That bright, vibrant green.
My breakfast meal prep that I do every now and then. My wife made this really good recipe where it's just ground turkey, egg whites, and spinach, and
Oh,
she
interesting.
just get a good bunch of it, on Sunday, and then package it all up for the week, and I'm good to go every morning.
So my favorite breakfast as of late, and maybe I'll make this one time for everybody on here because it's so easy and it's like a comfort hack because it's pancakes. Like I'm literally making pancakes, but it is packed with nutrients. There's 31 grams of protein per serving because it's made with 3 ingredients. Well, it's supposed to be 3 ingredients. I doctor it up a little bit. So it's the base of it is egg whites and cottage cheese and whole grain oats.
Mm.
And from there, I add in some cinnamon and some vanilla. And you can serve it to anybody, and they will have no idea that they are not eating the flour, high carb pancakes. So I
Wow.
feel great about eating these.
I'm
It's a
gonna
really
create
good way
every
to start
time
my
you
day.
drop a nugget on us. I'm gonna create something that we can just we can throw in screen or some sound effect. That is a good one, and I hope you guys had your notepads out for that one.
It's going to be like one of those, was it 1970s, where all of the noisemakers in the back of the studio, as they would
Yeah,
as they would do their little jokes, or the knock knock
exactly.
knocks and all that. Yeah. Oh, that's good. Oh, that's really good. Needs salt for sure, but definitely is delicious. Okay. I think our zoodles are coming along well, so I'm gonna grab this over here real quick.
Offside suggestion is a sparkly nugget with a happy face on it, and it just zooms in. I love it. Totally, we could totally do that.
Send us your ideas. Send us your suggestions. I love it. Okay,
Yeah,
we are
send
now
ideas
going.
at Sherry's Nuggets at nuggets.com.
All right, we are going to take the skin off, and this is again the easy part now because it just started to cook. But see, I got this fillet knife in, and just it was able to bend for me, and so all I had to do was start it nice and easy, and off it's peeling. Go. And if needed again, simple little slivers. And once you're handling the cooked salmon, be careful because it is so flaky that it will fall apart if you are even the slightest bit rough with it. Let's see, I can get in there. I'm not even cutting the salmon. It's that precise with a fillet knife. There it goes. So this will stay right here. And we'll cut the other as well. If you see any bits you don't like this, right off. And then
Kylie
just
says
I
I'm
like
starving now. I get it, Kylie. We're all in the same boat here.
to follow along very gently with the fillet knife just to make sure. Let's see, it started leaving a little bit of the skin on there, so I'm gonna hop under it and take it back off.
The real question
And by
is, will the pups get some of those scraps? Do they get the salmon bits and the little
you know,
leftovers there? Like, well, let's talk about it.
I think we should give this a try here. Let's see. I'm gonna give them a little salmon. I've never fed them salmon before, but let's see what their reaction is.
Oh, our dog.
Charlie is usually my huge eater. Emma's more particular. Like Charlie loves strawberries and blueberries and all of that. Emma will take and he'll eat them out of the freezer. Emma's like it's got to be room temperature for her,
Nice.
and it has to be cut into small pieces.
Now, is Emma a dog that will place the food in their mouth and then decide, or is it a long,
No.
drawn out sniff before even going in?
Sniff, yeah. Unless she sees Charlie eating it, then she's like, well, if he's having it, then I'm going to take this. And what she'll I call her my, sorry about the language, but I call her my little bitch sometimes, because what she'll do is she will take something that she knows Charlie wants. Like, let's say it's a strawberry. She'll put the strawberry in her mouth, and then she'll spit it out. And when he comes to eat it, she'll like guard it with her paw and just stare at him. Like, I'm not going to have it, but you can't have it. All right, let's see if they like it. Hey guys, want to see if you want some salmon? You want some salmon? Want to smell? You want to try it? Okay. Emma, you want to try it?
Emma's going
You
in.
want it? Let's see. Does it appear on the floor? That's gone. She liked it.
There we go. Good job.
All
Ladies and
right.
gentlemen,
So our
that's
zoodles.
Charlie and Emma, and they are very cute. Labs, right?
They are.
Chocolate labs.
Yes. Yep. Exactly. They are English labs. So they are stocky, blocky. Charlie's a little over 100 pounds. Emma is about 80 pounds. They're a lot of fun. So
Nice.
noodles are done. We're going to drain them in the colander in the sink. And then you add them right to our sauce.
Yeah, no kidding.
So when you-
Offsides, big puppies. They're big, cute puppies at that. For
They
sure.
are big puppies, yeah, for sure. Everybody calls them bears when they see them, and that's what they look like. They look like the bears. All right, zoodles are going into our sauce.
Speaking of bears, my wife made this really good point. When did Smokey the Bear become a smoke show?
I don't know.
His billboards are everywhere in California, and he's got his shirt off, and he's got these muscles.
What?
It's wild. It's not.
I have not seen that.
Oh, it's not the simple. Like, just search it up later on. It's not the typical. Only you can prevent forest fire. It's not
Yeah.
that ranger look.
This is like
it's
smoking hot bear?
Smoking hot, Smokey the Bear. Very wild, very controversial.
Yeah. No, leave some icons alone. All right, little solid here. It'd be like taking Yogi the Bear and making him,
I don't know, making him suave, right?
yeah.
Making him like a
Rico
private eye.
Suave.
Like, wait, what's going on?
All right, little salt. We'll do a little bit of pepper. And then we'll come in and taste again.
Bad Niece says Smokey is more au naturel. Back to his roots, right?
I think that's good. Let's see.
I agree. The rebranding
Yeah, that's
is great.
good.
It's fun. It's definitely a good talking point. You don't have anything to talk about? You can talk about the weather, and you can talk about Smokey the Bear.
Man, we need him over here in Colorado. Let's just hope that he can help prevent these forest fires we usually get every year about this time.
Yeah, sorry, California's taking that limelight for the most
No.
part.
That is fine. Okay, I think we are all set and getting ready to plate.
Excellent. Look at those
Yeah.
creamy zoodles over there.
They are amazing.
We got
I'm
some
actually
capers in
cut.
there and some heavy cream. You added the
Oh,
salt.
wait.
It looks amazing.
It's going to be so good. I'm going to actually slice up our salmon here real quick. I want to turn this into just bite-sized pieces. So you guys have seen me talk about using the claw, right? So hand down. And I'm keeping my fingers on, obviously, for sanitary reasons. Look how beautifully that's flaking apart. Can you guys see that? Like, wow. Super easy. And again, if you were doing this at home and you had all these tools that I have, you could put this together in 20 minutes easy. And all I'm going to do in a shot, I'll probably do slices like this. Very gentle. It's hard to even slice it without it falling apart. It's so flaky. Beautiful, beautiful. Yeah. So what are you having for lunch, David? Salmon?
That's at the top of the food chain for sure. Maybe some leftovers. We don't like to waste around here, so we always find little creative ways to like make a second dish, which is, I forget the name of the show on Netflix, but I really like that competition where they have to take leftovers and make it into a fancy meal of sorts.
Oh, I don't know that one.
We'll have to search it up, and I'll make sure that you know what it
Yeah,
is.
let me know what it is.
It's a really, the college man in me that spent a lot of time cooking at 3 and 4 a.m. random meals is
Yeah.
super pleased to see that show. So I'll probably have some leftovers today.
So with us about to plate before we wrap up the show, does anybody out there have additional questions or thoughts or even requests for future shows?
Couch Surfer said, "This is a hard stream to watch at lunch." I agree, buddy.
And I would love it. Well,
when will Market have a smell-o-vision? Well, we'll talk to the dev team about that. I think we'll be on to something right there with the Chef Sherri's nuggets, smell-o-vision.
So I want to know from people watching then. Well, first of all, the recipe, obviously, we've got it available for you to purchase.
Yep.
So we've got that. Makes it easy for you to refer to this at home when it's time to put everything together. There's no question how to do things. It'll be right there for you. But my question would be, if there's anybody watching who would like to have, just the ingredient list ahead of time so that you could cook with me during the show and you could follow along as I do stuff. Is that something that anybody would be interested in? And if not, that's okay. But since it is lunchtime for a lot of people, that might be something that we could make happen on occasion.
That would be amazing. Right. Kylie said some gluten-free options would be fun. And
that's what this is.
Said some pancakes. So yes, this is a gluten-free option right here.
Yep.
Totally.
Most of my cooking actually is gluten-free because I am gluten sensitive. So that's what I make most of, the gluten-free dish. All right, so I'm going to pour some of the sauce on here on top of our pasta, and I'm going to save it a little bit to put on top of the salmon as well. There we go.
So like Chef Sherri said, this recipe is available on Market. It should be on your screen right now. But also the fillet knife that we use, the KitchenAid spiralizer, as well as the flat whisk is all on the cart. If you want to click on the 4 squares at the bottom on the right side, you'll see that.
Here we go. We're just going to scrape the salmon over here into our dish. We're going to finish off with a little more of the sauce. I'll probably use a spoon, put it over the top, and then we're going to zest our lemon. And again, you follow this along and you have the right tools at home, which we've taken care of sourcing those for you. All you have to do is add them to your cart. They come right to your house. No issues. And then can you imagine just presenting this to yourself for a delicious, healthy meal or somebody that you love? How easy it would be to put together and make this beautiful presentation. And it really wasn't that hard, was it, watching it? It's just a matter of a handful of steps and you've got it. No tricky techniques, no extremely expensive or interesting tools. You're just cooking and you're sauteing and spiralizing, and that's it. Okay. So here we go. Hang on to that sauce for later. The last thing we're going to do is use this microplane that we've talked about. All right, so when we microplane, you want to make sure that you don't go too far and you get into the pith. The pith is the white part, and that's very bitter. So always be careful when you're zesting and microplaning. But all we're going to do is just take it now, come right over the top, and what this will do is add this beautiful citrusy zest to the dish at the end. So it'll really highlight the lemon that's in there.
Yummy, yum. Now the shot that we're going to need as soon as you finish is you're going to have to take it right back to the camera over the oven so we can see that overhead of it.
I will, I promise.
And if you guys were just joining us after my introduction, I am David. I'm with the Market team, and I'm just here talking with Chef Sherri because cooking with family and friends is always fun. So I said that I would join her remotely, and that's why you hear my voice through the stream.
David, you've been awesome. I so appreciate it. It's been such great fun having you here.
Totally. I definitely will make sure that I have lunch next time. If not on my own, I definitely will have it prepped right as the stream ends. Look at that wonderful.
How is that?
plate right
Can
there.
you see that? How beautiful is that? Yep. And then all you do is dig in.
Steven says lemon is all you ever need on salmon. You're not wrong right there, buddy. Like she put the cheesecloth over the lemon earlier in the stream and added
Yep.
that to the sauce and everything, and it's just so good.
It is so good. And thank you everyone for joining us today. Thanks for all your questions, your chipping in. Super appreciate you being here. Always reach out if you have any questions. You can write to me directly if you'd like to at Sherri at Chef Sherri Sauces, Sherri. Happy to answer questions. Take your suggestions for any shows that you might like to see or some of your favorite nuggets that you got from our shows.
Awesome. And thank you so much, Chef Sherri. Thank you guys for joining. We have Steven, Offsides, Bad Knees, Kylie, Couch Surfer, all you guys. Thank you so much for your comments and engagement and hanging out with us. What do you have to say to end up here, Chef Sherri?
Bon appetit.
Exactly. Thank you guys so much for joining us and keep shopping.
Bye.